You are listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. I help female perfectionists beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good using the Fit Figure Formula coaching program. I'm your host, Stephanie Riles, registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. If you've been struggling with all or nothing thinking, negative self-talk, or self-sabotage, this is the podcast for you. Learn how to get consistent and become the best version of yourself from the inside out. So let's get started. Hey, it's Coach Steph. Welcome to this episode. I'm going to be talking about shadow beliefs in your weight loss journey, and this episode is going to be so good. So make sure that you have a pen and a piece of paper, or you might need to listen to this episode a couple of times because it's going to be really great. I am going to be talking about this. I'm actually going to coach on this inside the Fit Figure Formula for our call tonight. And I thought I would share it because as I was going through the material, I was like, okay, this is really good. And I am going to be coaching on this, but I thought I'd give y'all a snippet. What I'm going to be talking about is first, what are shadow beliefs? I'm going to talk about that. Then I'm going to talk about what it looks like and what it sounds like to have shadow beliefs. And this is really important because shadow beliefs are typically subconscious beliefs, and we are always acting out our subconscious beliefs. And this is what fuels our actions. And if we are not aware of this, it can be ruining your weight loss journey, and you are stuck on actions, you're stuck on diets, you're stuck on the wrong thing, and you're actually not focusing on what's actually causing the problem. Before I even get into it, let me give y'all some announcements for the Fit Figure Formula. If you want to start off 2025 in a great headspace, if you want a dietitian in your back pocket, if you want to start the year off working on your mindset and building that great foundation, click the link in the show notes. Or you can always DM me if you have questions. I'd be more than happy to answer anything that you have. So make sure that you are planning to join the formula. You can use your HSA, FSA as well. I have some buy later or buy now, pay later options as well. So if you're interested, let me know. Number 2, the Fit Figure Formula merch store is open. So if you go to the show notes or go to the links in my socials, you will find my link tree has multiple links there where you can apply to the formula, but also go to the merch store and pick out something cute to wear. And let's see. Any other announcements? I think that's it. Those 2 things. So again, join the formula. This is going to be so good. So if this is helpful, if you listen to this and you're like, oh my God, that was really helpful, imagine what it would be like inside the formula with me in your back pocket for the next 16 weeks. You should totally be there and make sure that you apply. There's no pressure. I want to get to know you better. And then I want to make sure that what you're dealing with or what you're struggling with is what I help my clients with. And if this sounds familiar to you, I think you may be a great fit. So I'm going to dive in. All right. So number 1, what are shadow beliefs? I think this is really, really important because a lot of us are focused on actions. We're focused on what's the best diet, what's the best exercise, and we are focused on these actions that are not the root of our problem. Sometimes I ask clients like, what's been holding you back? I'm like, I don't know what to eat, or I don't know the right exercises. And I'm like, that's really not the problem. Like information at this point in 2025, not the problem. We have more than enough information to make significant progress right now where you are. Information is not the problem. A lot of times it is our shadow belief. So what is a shadow belief? A shadow belief in your weight loss journey are subconscious hidden thoughts and beliefs that negatively influence your behaviors, emotions around food, exercise, and body image. So these beliefs often stem from past experiences, from fear, self-doubt, and it really drives perfectionistic tendencies like self-sabotage. And we have these limiting beliefs that we're not addressing. So here we are thinking that we need to research again how to lose belly fat when that's not the real problem. This is why it's not sticking. It's not working. You keep trying different things, but your subconscious beliefs are the same. So that's why you keep getting the same result. While we operate with our conscious awareness, like we're making decisions and we're researching, we can do that. Okay. We can research, but Our subconscious beliefs about what we can achieve, they really are what are shaping our actions and can prevent us from achieving the sustainable success that we want. We know how to lose weight quick in a fad diet, but we just don't know how to keep it off. Okay. So this is what I mean when I'm talking about shadow beliefs. So we talked about what shadow beliefs are. I'm going to give you a few examples of what it actually looks like. So here's a common belief, right? There's a fear of failure. The belief is if I can't do it perfectly, then there's no point in trying, right? This is that all or nothing mentality. And the behavior might look like avoiding starting or quitting after a minor setback. Okay. So if that's you, if that's what you're doing, I want you to think about what do your actions say about what you believe? Because sometimes if we're really not super self-aware, we're thinking with our conscious mind, no, I believe in myself. My confidence is high. I trust myself. But what do your actions say? If your actions don't line up with what your conscious mind is telling you that you really believe, then we might be talking about some shadow beliefs here. So look at your actions. What do your actions say that you believe? Okay, this is kind of like a way to reverse engineer it. What do your actions say that you believe? So look at how you have operated in your fitness journey and what must you believe based on your actions. Okay, so fear of failure, huge with female perfectionists. And I think that fear of failure and fear of success are very much intertwined. And fear of success might kind of sound like if I reach this goal, I won't be able to maintain it and people will judge me, or I won't be able to maintain it and I'm going to gain the weight back, right? And that's just fear of judgment. And really what we're scared of, fear of judgment from other people, but really fear of judgment of ourselves because we've already judged ourselves. Okay. So fear of failure, fear of success. And so that behavior might look like self-sabotaging when progress is made by overeating or skipping workouts. And I've definitely had clients who, when they saw the scale go down, they started kind of asking themselves, how much more can I have? How many treats can I have? Or they started skipping their workouts or just overeating because of fear of my body's going to change. I've had clients who thought I'm going to get more attention and I don't want this attention on my body. Okay. And so again, fear of success and fear of failure are very much intertwined. So another belief might be like, I'm not worthy of my goals. So the belief might sound like I don't deserve to be healthy or happy because I failed too many times. Like I don't deserve this. And the behavior might look like choosing unhealthy habits because they feel more familiar or comfortable. So how many times have we chosen a situation or an action that actually does not get us to our goal? But it's just familiar, but it's just comfortable, and change is uncertain. So we are choosing a certain end, even though that end is not something that we want, versus the uncertainty of success. Okay. So not feeling deserving or worthy enough for your goals. That's like a deep belief. And that's one way that it can show up. Another way that it might show up is obsessing over the scale or restricting food to punish yourself. And the belief behind that might be my body defines my worth and I'll only be lovable if I look a certain way. So this is someone who might weigh themselves every day. And if their scale goes up, then it's not like I failed. It's like, no, I'm a failure because the scale went up. And it's intertwining your self-worth with what the scale says or with what size you can fit into. And this is one of those shadow beliefs. It's like, why are you so upset when you get on the scale and the scale is up 2 pounds when you know that the scale is going to go up and down? And we say that all the time. We say the scale's going to go up and down. But when the scale actually goes up and down, you kind of freak out. And that sometimes is just like our inner child wanting to be safe when we don't feel safe because we are scared that now we're not worthy. Now we're not good enough and we're not lovable. And those beliefs, that obsession with the scale, can cause you to actually self-sabotage or just be obsessive about it. And when you're obsessive, you might be too restrictive, and that's not sustainable. And this is why we keep having this pattern of being overly restrictive and then falling completely off because that wasn't sustainable. Another belief might be, if I mess up one meal, I have to start over, or my whole day is ruined. My whole week is ruined. I overate this weekend, so I undid all of my progress. And so the behavior might be giving up completely after small setbacks instead of course correcting. Can't undo weeks of being on target by one weekend. But why do we act as if we did? And now we're like, oh, well, screw it. Messed up this weekend, so I'm not going to be intentional for the next week. Okay. I'm going to give y'all a couple of more. So self-trust issues. This is why I always ask my clients on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, is your self-trust? And the belief, this shadow belief might be, I can't be trusted around certain foods, so I have to be overly strict. And that might look like extreme dieting or rigid food rules that lead to binge eating. And so I always say this, if you're overeating, if you keep finding yourself overeating or like craving certain things, a lot of times it's not that you're addicted to anything. You've just been restricting, and using willpower to restrict yourself and not have sugar, not have soda, instead of creating balance. And then when your willpower fails, because your willpower is a poor way to create lifestyle habits, it's going to fail you. Then you binge. And that binge didn't start with a binge. It started with the restriction. So if you want to stop overeating, and I want to also just make clear, overeating and binging are actually two different things. I'm using them synonymously here, but they are definitely different. What I'm talking about is overeating, just generally overeating, like you overdid it. And that starts with the restriction. Okay, so if you are the person who's always like on a diet, no sugar November, no soda, no this, and you're so focused on like what you cannot have, that's dieting, and the binge is coming soon. Okay. Let me give you one more. So fear of change, right? So the belief might be losing weight will change my relationships and people might treat me differently. The behavior might look like staying stuck in familiar patterns to avoid that discomfort. So how many times have we been scared of change and decided to stay the same, even though we don't really want that, but change feels scary, right? And so if nothing changes, nothing changes. And sometimes we can be so stuck on, I have to do it this way. My schedule has to be this way. Me and my husband go, to brunch every morning at this place, and this is just what we do. And I'm like, well, you can change that, right? Like change, like fear of change is a real thing. So being able to be okay and at least acknowledge like, oh, okay, I don't want to change the brunch with my husband because I think he may be upset that now our tradition is we're not doing that anymore. Right. And so these are some of the shadow beliefs and their behaviors. So if you can see yourself in that, this is what we're going to be working on inside the Fit Figure Formula tonight. If this sounds like something that you need to work on, you should apply. Let me give you a couple of questions that you need to be asking yourself. These are some of the questions that we're going to be going over tonight inside of our call. Because a few things that you can do when you have recognized a shadow belief. Number one is obviously we got to be aware of it and be able to recognize it when it shows up. But once we do, we can challenge it, we can reframe it, we can replace it. But if we keep just focusing on what's the best diet to lose fat, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get that deeper reason why. And that's really, really important. Okay. Let me give you some questions that you can ask yourself to start uncovering this. So one really good question is, what patterns or behaviors do I hide from others? And how do I feel about them privately? That's a really, really good question. I've had clients before who would change the way that they eat in front of others. So I had a client once who, when she went out to eat, she would pick foods that were not too bad, like meaning like maybe a salad or like eat really light. And which isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, the intention or the root behind that was, I'm too big to eat a lot or to eat like unhealthy food in front of others. So let me eat and diet so that people won't judge me, essentially. And that is something that was manifested in her actions. And she wasn't really aware that she was doing that until we worked together. I had another client who would eat privately and she just wouldn't eat in front of others. Again, she's judging herself, and we're making up these stories about what other people think about ourselves. And it's like, people are not worried about you. People are worried about themselves. Everyone is walking around with their own trauma and their own stuff. And no one is looking at you at the gym. Like, no one is judging your food. Everyone is consumed with what they got going on. Another question real quick is, what do I secretly fear will happen if I achieve my weight loss goals? Is there something that comes up when you envision actually having your goal? Is there a little fear that comes up? Like, you can kind of feel that, like, a little bit of resistance, like that's a little bit scary for me to actually achieve my goal. And ask yourself, why? Why would I be scared? This requires silence, y'all. It requires you to be still and quiet and journal and go within yourself. And this is how you uncover these shadow beliefs. I'm gonna give you one more and then I got to get out of here. Do I feel deserving of the body and health that I want? Why or why not? Such good questions. I had 10, but I only have time to share 3 with you guys. So listen to this back. Answer the questions. Those 3 questions that I just gave you, answer those 3 questions, especially if the first part resonated with you, where I talked about the belief and how that might look. If that resonated with you, answer those 3 questions. If you're struggling with this, you should be joining the Fit Figure Formula. I'm so excited to help you and invite you into the formula. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Thanks for listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. If you're new here and you're struggling with your fitness journey, I invite you to take a super simple next step. Click the link in the show notes for a free training. If listening to this podcast has been helpful, imagine being inside the Formula Coaching Program. You can apply for coaching with the link in the show notes. I hope to see you inside.